My associate is Dirk Anderson. He does the work in Box Elder. Um, we're going to be hearing from Kerri Nakamura this evening. Nakamura, I think, is correct. Um, and she is here as a consultant for the Utah League of Cities and Towns. One of the things that I just wanted to point out to you, I think that you can find Kerri's bio. She's very skilled and experienced in this area. Generally, you'll find that the community advisors are less skilled than Kerri, but we have access to a lot of really good resources. So if you reach out to Bragg, we'll make sure that you get the kind of support that you're going to hear as we listen to Kerri this evening. Kerri has worked in Salt Lake, actually grew up in Salt Lake, I think, has worked for the mayor of Salt Lake City, the mayor of Salt Lake County, and several other places. Her husband, Frank, is here with her tonight and probably will help us out a little bit as well. He has been a city attorney for, I think, most recently Murray, and then has also worked with the Unified Police in, I assume, Salt Lake County and City. So we're looking forward to hearing a little bit more about how property taxes actually work, which a lot of people are pretty confused about. And now you're going to know more than almost anybody. Kerri?
Thank you very much. Do I need this? Yeah.
When they record.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yep, it's loud enough. Yeah, for sure.
Just up a little bit.
You want to just put it closer? Okay, perfect. So I'm going to step over here because it's more comfortable for me. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you for inviting me tonight, and thank you for coming to a property tax session. I know that that's not the most important or interesting thing in the world to a lot of people, but I dig tax policy, and so I really like it. And I get really excited when I talk about taxes and when I talk about revenue. I love local government. I love to help local officials fund their priorities and figure out how to get all of that stuff done that we want to do. How many of you were elected to office? Anyone? One? We've got one elected. What are the other roles in the room? Okay. Wonderful. Good luck. You've got just a few more weeks to go. And then maybe I'll see you at the newly elected series because I teach for the League of Cities and Towns in that as well. Great. Okay, wonderful. Realtor. Okay. Well, you're going to know more about property tax than you ever wanted to know. And I think it's relevant to the Planning Commission as well. I've been a planning commissioner myself. Right. And so then this is relevant to schools. Timelines are a little different, but the theory's the same. Okay. Oh, wonderful. Okay, wonderful. We visited your town. In fact, the last time we saw Wilf Summercorn was in the Anchorage airport last summer. So there you go. At Bragg. Okay, wonderful. Well, this is something that I present to local officials a lot. And I would say that learning about property taxes is something you have to learn a few times for it to stick. It's complicated, but it's not it's not so mysterious that you can't understand it. Again, this is the local administrative advisor program through the Utah League of Cities and Towns. When you talk to your legislators this year, tell them it's an amazing program because it allows people like me, I'm not the only consultant with the program, to go out to our smallest communities and really help our smallest communities with some of these tough issues. So, and I've got a little thing up there. I don't know what that is. It's something about the mic, I think, that's recording. So I'm sorry that it's over the picture. But what does Schofield, Utah, and Salt Lake City, Utah, have in common, other than they're both beautiful places? Schofield has a population of 25. I was having my daughter do a little bit of data research, and she called and said, "Are you kidding? Is that a typo? There's a city that has 25 people." I said, "Yeah, it does. Their total annual budget's 171,000 a year. They get 25,000 a year from property tax, and property tax is about 14.6% of their general fund budget." Salt Lake, you can see their numbers. Population's a little bigger, 217,000. Their total annual general fund budget's 512 million. Their annual property tax is 125 million, and they bring in about 24.4% of their total general fund revenue. They have airports and water systems and things, so they have like other big revenue sources, but of their general fund, about 24% of it comes from property tax. The thing these two have in common is that the truth-in-taxation process for both of them is exactly the same. They have to go through the same process, all of the same steps, if they want to increase property tax revenue. Okay? So property tax rates in Utah are revenue driven. You might hear other places talk about mill levies. You might hear all of these different things. That's not how it works in Utah. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So valuation increases do not result in higher taxes. How many of you want to challenge me on that and say my value went up, my taxes went up? It results in higher taxes. It doesn't. Okay, realtor, you're going to hear that from people. It does not. This is a revenue-driven process. Okay, and that's what we're going to learn about tonight. Valuation increases do result in tax burden shifts. So once the pie is there and the government gets the pie, valuations go up and down, and that means different payers may pay a different proportional share of the pie. But the pie itself stays fixed unless the government goes through the truth-in-taxation process. Okay? There's a natural downward bias to property tax, and that's by design. Because we're a revenue-driven system, we remove inflation from the process. That was by design. It was designed that way. People say, why don't they just let us have inflation? Well, because then property taxes would be going up and up and up all the time, and you wouldn't have to go through this truth-in-taxation process. Primary residential properties in Utah receive a 45% break before the rate is applied to them. So if the home that you live in the community you live in, on your tax notice, you will see two valuations. You will see the market valuation and you will see the taxable valuation. And if it's your primary residence, that means that's where you vote. It's the place that you call home. That will be your tax valuation will be 45% less. If you own a secondary home, if you have a home in St. George or you have another home somewhere else in another community, that home will not enjoy that property tax break. So secondary homes are taxed at 100% of value, as are all commercial properties. Primary residential gets that tax break. None of these facts are likely to change. They've been in place for quite a while, and the legislature tinkers from time to time. None of these facts about, people will say, why don't they just give us inflation? I've been asking that question for 35 years that I've been in tax policy work. It's not going to change. They don't want to give you inflation. And so they want you to have to go through this truth-in-taxation process if you want more money. So what you need to do is understand the way property taxes work, so that if you or the community you live in is going through truth-in-taxation, you're educated about how that all works, and then you can help educate other people. Am I speaking too loud? Okay, perfect. Despite all of that, property tax remains the most stable source of revenue that we have as local government. Believe it or not, sales tax can go down. The last time it went down in any real way was 2008, but as soon as we have any kind of an economic interruption, sales tax revenue in terms of very real dollars. And that's one of the things I've always trained on. I said sales tax or decreasing doesn't mean it grew by 2% instead of 3.5%. Like, honest to goodness, I can show you on charts where sales tax real dollars went down. And it's because of the recession and the economy. So if you want more property tax revenue in your community, there are only 3 ways to get it. This is it. It's not magic. First is new growth. So remember when I told you that that rate is revenue driven? Once that rate is set, if there is bona fide new growth in the community, that means a new structure, new brick and mortar in the community. The rate gets applied to that new brick and mortar and you get the additional money. Okay, so if it wasn't there last year and now it's there this year, it gets the rate placed against it. You get additional revenue as a community. That's one way. Okay. Second, and let's talk about the new growth formula for a minute. So you can see the baseline property tax budget. You can see the new development that happened. And down here are your changing real property values, the personal property, the centrally assessed property, and all of that is at your property tax budget. Okay, all of these blue parts here add up right now. We apply a rate to it and it adds up to give you this baseline property tax. Then that new rate gets applied to new growth, not inflationary growth on your existing property. New brick and mortar, the brand new home, the brand new business that went in the community. We apply the rate. That's new development. Now the city receives additional revenue, and look what happens. It's a new baseline. And I'm going to walk you through a simulation in a minute that really drives that home, how that works. But I just wanted you to be able to see as we go through this process, that's how it works for new growth. That's how you get more money from new growth. The other way that you can get more money is you can annex in new tax areas. Your communities that surround you probably won't be very pleased with you if you go out and cherry pick off all of their tax-rich properties. In fact, I think, Frank, there are kind of laws against it now, right? The city can't initiate, right? It's got to be property owners that initiate the annexation now. Right. Right. So this years ago, Salt Lake City went out and cherry picked. If you're familiar with the Salt Lake area, they took the Brickyard Plaza area and brought it into Salt Lake City's boundaries because they wanted all of that property and sales tax rich area, and now it's harder to do that as a community. But that certainly is another way that you can grow your property tax. Question. That's right. Right. So they annex in. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. That's right. Right. If you've got raw land out there, right, that a developer can do that. That's absolutely right. And then the next way, this is the only third way, is to go through the Truth-In-Taxation process. And that means that you actually increase the rate. So when I told you that this rate is revenue driven, we start with the amount of money you got last year and we add any new growth. And that's the amount of money you get. And there's a rate that's calculated that gets you that amount of money. And if you want more money, you have to say how much more money you want. And then they give you a new rate that would produce that new amount of money. And you have to go through a whole process we're going to talk about tonight to educate taxpayers and let taxpayers know that you are exceeding the rate that would produce for you the revenue you had last year because you want more revenue and you're going to adopt a new rate. So we'll talk about that process. That's the third way to get more money. And this is how Truth-In-Taxation looks. So you've got your baseline property tax there in the green. And you can see that if the valuations go up, the rate goes down, so you get the same amount of money. If the valuations go down, it's happened, the rate goes up, you get the same amount of money. Okay, so you're protected from deflation.